Let's leave it up. There we go. Zeri open for Wink for game number 3. And as we lock that in, Dagda, again, we know the top esports have a response.
Yeah, I think it'll be the Ryze pick here. I think Yuekai's done really well on that. Like, he actually likes to play towards side lanes and something that gives you early pressure to play towards sides. But Hysterics, you are correct. I shouldn't have doubted you. Huge brain Hysterics.
No. It's just about 12.4, man. And you're right about the Ryze. Like, Knight's Ryze, too, has been pretty big. So I want to use your point and say that for top esports, they get a strong couple of picks here on red side.
Yeah, I personally just prefer the Ryze because I like the early pressure that you can kind of bring to the table with it. And it's so versatile. You can like play that tank style, you do a ton of damage, and it makes it very difficult to deal with you on the side lane, also in team fights. So Ryze works wonders here. Tian, probably Viego or Hecarim, depending on what he prefers. I think the Viego works quite well, or like something like the Xin Zhao works quite well, but the point and click CC of the Ryze just gives you a really strong mid jungle if you want to try and play through that. And for IG, it'll be a case of, how do you try and respond to that?
Well, rinse and repeat here for top esports, it seems, in the meantime. Dagda, bottom lane, they're going to try it again. And all we can hope for is that this time it works out better.
I feel like for IG, trying to select your mid jungle here is going to do a lot better for you. Find something like the Orianna that you can play through with Yuekai. We've seen things like the Shun going towards the Hecarim, which gives you a good team fight, good dive potential, works really well with the already locked in Zeri. But we're actually going to get the Galio for Yuekai. So just trying to match that early roam and hoping to kind of provide that helpful dive tool when you get your engage tool. I feel like Hecarim would be your best bet here. Like, yes, you'll probably lose out on a bit of early jungle pressure, but from a team fighting standpoint, like onslaught of shadows into the heroic entrance from the Galio, Zeri shredding through people, that just seems like such a strong combo.
Or maybe you go for something that's a bit more old school. Camille, Galio instead, Dagda. No jungler, you leave open something like the Hecarim you're just mentioning for Tian to take, but more importantly, we already see that the comp for IG very straightforward as to what they want to do.
So, taking the counter pick at top here, I feel like for top esports then, they're going to start banning away jungles. Take away the Hecarim, maybe take away something like a Volley Bear, something along these lines that can like play with that dive style. You take the Xin Zhao for yourself. You now got super strong mid jungle. You've got the ability to play towards this Fiora with the counter pick of the top side, and but that's not going to be the case. They're actually going to take away the supports here.
Well, we have no junglers though, Dagda. That's more surprising to me. The Taric pick for Lucas. Okay, makes sense. But the Fiora locked in. And people will be tuning into LPL the first time and be like, oh my god, it's a Fiora. We do have a lot of Fiora players here. Wayward obviously showing that he is one of them as well, alongside the Bins, the Alas. Who else am I missing? The Shy, a Fiora player as well. So kind of fun to see in this final game that we get the Flourish thrown out. While I already mentioned junglers, Dagda, you pulled up supports. There's a couple of picks left wanting, but at least it's the same on both sides.
Yeah, I still think Hecarim ban here for top esports would be really, really smart. It just feels like it kind of solidifies all that, but they're just going to keep going for the support. So maybe Tian takes the Hecarim for himself, but I feel like it doesn't work quite as well with what top esports have. Like, you want to try and play side lanes. I think things like the Xin Zhao that are banned away from IG are a bigger threat. Maybe we get the Viego ban as well. But yeah, then you're kind of looking at, okay, yeah, Hecarim getting banned away. So maybe you're looking at like a Volley Bear here for Tian. We've seen things like the Viego as well, but yeah, I'm just not entirely sure exactly how you want to try and set this up as your mid jungle for top esports.
Yeah, there's a lot of questions. Viego won as well. That Tian has played quite a bit of this split. It's his actually equal most played. Last game we did see Tian on the Hecarim, so excuse me, it is third most played. Viego gets locked in here, Dagda, and now it's just a question of what Shun has left. Like, dude, this guy used to be a big Lilia player. He's played Rek'Sai. What do you want to partner this?
I think the Trundle.
Okay.
Because it provides you that CC that doesn't really stop, or Fiora can't really like work off of. Same you look at that, but okay, Shun. This was not a pick that I was expecting to cast here today. The Kindred coming through. I mean, it makes sense if you're not going to be under a huge amount of pressure from the Viego in the early stages. Being able to like keep your distance against the Viego means you can't really do a huge amount. And you've also got a bit of a safety net there, but like there's not a huge amount on top esports side where I'm like, oh yeah, this is where they're going to try and dive you. This is very much a 1-3-1 comp from top esports. So I feel like for IG, this Kindred, actually more, I don't know how I feel about this Kindred. I don't think it really fits what you're looking for here.
I mean, we talked a lot about how IG are going to play with this top mid duo, like how Camille Galio works, Dagda. There's a lot I want to break down. Renata going to get locked in here for Mark once again. Start with top esports comp for me, because I think it's important to note that when we have Fiora, we have a side lane, we have Ryze. It's obvious that through the laning phase, it's going to be opposite. It's going to be important here for TES.
Yeah, so for top esports, it's very much play through mid jungle, try and utilize that to move up towards Wayward, get Wayward ahead, and then operate in kind of a 1-4 or at least a 1-3-1 sort of composition. You've got Renata here just to absorb the dive potential from IG, which I think is again a super nice pick here against what IG are trying to do. For IG, this is where it kind of runs a little bit of fell, right? You don't really have a huge amount of mid pressure here for Yuekai, for Kindred to be able to look for invades. You don't have the pressure on the top side either, like to start to get these camps in your favor. Same when you look at the bot side as well. Zeri's going to be pushed in, so the Kindred for me, this is where I start to kind of go, hang on, like yes, you can kind of be an extra AD carry in team fights, but you don't really have the tools to get Kindred ahead in the early stages because of the way the different lanes are set up. So yeah, I'm really not sure how Shun is going to operate in these early stages, even when he tries to put the pressure. Like Wayward Tian, I feel like Tian and Knight, I feel like win out in the 2v2. The ability to play down on bot side, I still feel like they win out. Yeah, I just don't see how this Kindred is really going to get the ball rolling for us.
I'm curious though for Shun. It's such a big niche pick here. A Kindred we haven't seen quite in a while. I'm actually just going to pull up pick and ban stats as well, because I know that over in the LCO, I think it was Peace pulled out a Kindred top, and that was reportable as an offense. But we've had no Kindreds here in the jungle. Our first one debuts here, and it's from Shun, who has loved this pick in the past. PTA pulled up as we head into game 3, our final game, where Invictus Gaming are eliminated if they lose this. Top esports need this series win to continue their stroll up towards the top 4. And I'll be waiting for this one as Wayward and Zika have a bit of a stroll. Shun as well, remember, we're going to get that 50-50 as he's heading up to Shun too. Dagda, it's all about that mark, and you got to roll the dice for the first scuttle, or sorry, the third scuttle, to have it.
Yeah, for me, it feels like you need some sort of cheesy play here from IG, and I know that sounds kind of like hard to say, but if I feel like Yuekai, like a flash taunt or something on towards Knight, or like maybe like a level 2 gank, like catching top esports off guard is probably your best way to try and get Shun up and rolling. But even then, still feels kind of hard. You can even see they've got the ward there on the opposite side, in on that red buff, just to make sure that they're able to spot where Shun's starting. And as long as top esports just play through their lanes, they're going to be fine. Like, they don't need to kind of put pressure into the enemy jungle. Just spot out where Shun is and move in towards a strong mid game just off of winning lane states.
And I like that you pull that up. Like, tracking the Kindred is always half the battle here. Knowing marks on the minimap as well is super easy. So we'll see how we go. It's red side start, and Dagda pointed out the ward that is going to continue following him. Shun is heading towards bot Krugs, while you can see Tian on the same side of the map, all paths heading up towards that top lane. A top lane Dagda that is pretty volatile, if I say so myself, with both taking Grasp of the Undying, both actually taking Flash this time around as well.
Yeah, you kind of need it for Zika in a lot of situations, just to try and help, not only in the lane phase, but just when you get towards team fights. Zika's the primary engage to alongside Lucas, so Zika being able to like hook shots into a flash, stun, onto the Hextech ultimatum, say for someone like JackeyLove, is going to be a really good way for IG to set.
Again, JackeyLove gets a buster shot, rocket jump, Wink just hit so hard. They hit level 2 first, and IG's bottom lane punished immediately.
Halo Blade's Tristana hurts level 2. You can see right there, force him Wink out. That's the advantage that I wanted to see played through in lane, and this is why I'm finding it really hard to see how Shun actually gets a chance to invade. Like, Wayward controls top side because the counter pick. You've got full pressure for JackeyLove. Yuekai on the Galio ain't going to be able to support you in the way that you need to. So it all just kind of looks a little bit wonky for this Kindred pick on IG. If it can get rolling, I can 100% see how it works. You got this dive comp. Kindred can follow up really well. She's got the ability to kind of be that secondary AD carry, that secondary damage tool to take over from Yuekai. I just don't see how it operates in the early game to kind of allow you to get to the mid to late.
Keep tracking Shun to see how he at least tries to make an impact here. Wolf's Frenzy going to be used in the river. Scuttle taken up in the top side. Remember, the first mark spawns at the third Scuttle Crab. Excuse me, at the first set of Scuttle Crabs, it's already been taken one. A Shun in the mid lane helping out. I made a bit of a mistake there. Of course, it is a split 50-50. And considering that there's no mark on the bottom side, it looks like Shun will be able to easily pick up that first mark. 2 to go to get that range advantage and, you know, to give that real big impact here as we see on Kindred.
Just one mark, and that's number 4 is the big one that we're looking for. The 4th mark is the one that gives you the extra range and really allows Kindred to honestly be a champion. So if Shun can't get those marks, that's where you start to have a bit of trouble as Wayward.
Okay, we're just doing the usual. Zika playing the lane pretty well so far, but look, from behind enemy lines, Shun gonna have to help out because Tian's already in the middle of lane, flashes away, but Shun with a great impact, and that's another mark down. Knight trying to fight it back as low health bar here on Yuekai. He's flashed and he's matched and he's dead. Knight with a response is a big deal, considering Yuekai's now out of the lane.
Yeah, I mean, Knight needed to find that turnaround, but again, Tian, why? Why are you trying to make these plays happen? Just keep track of Kindred. Let your lanes play through their own strengths. You don't want to play through Knight. You want to play with Knight in a side lane. And again, Tian, like these early decisions costing top esports.
Well, you've got a gold lead that's pretty much non-existent here for TES after the play, but really just Knight picking up the extra minion wave, getting the shove in, now having a lead. Topside Zika balancing that out with the 10 CS lead himself, but as I pointed out in that last fight, Shun was able to get another mark. 2 marks this early on as Tian made the gank.
But they know that Shun is in this area, and Tian has been spotted out in awards a bunch of times. Yuekai full out. I don't know why you're trying to like over-force these plays in mid. And honestly, great play from Yuekai here. Just turns straight onto Tian, knows where he's coming from, and just gives the kill over towards Yuekai and that mark towards Shun. And Knight has to burn his flash now to try and like get this turnaround. But that actually makes Knight pretty vulnerable now in this mid lane to a setup from Yuekai and Shun. So I don't know. I feel like for Tian, like again, just marking where Shun is, keeping track of him, is going to do so much more than actually trying to make anything happen. Also, look at Zika in this mid lane.
Yep.
He's looking to see if he can punish the fact that Knight has no flash.
We're moving around for now. Dragon's going to be taken off the back of it, though, so nice little setup here for IG in the early game. Again, 2 marks that are going to be taken. Scuttle spawning in the bottom side, and just a bit of a heads up for everyone. Remember, the first mark is always that Rift Scuttler that spawns at 3:15. 1 to 3 is Rift Scuttler, Crimson Raptor, or Gromp, and those are going to be on the enemy side. As we can see that Rift Scuttle down on the bottom side, that will have a mark on it when it spawns. But on the opposite side for now, Shun nowhere near it. Then we get to Krugs, Sentinels, Wolves, and we get past that into Heralds, Baron, Dragons, etc., etc. So keep that in the back of your mind. For now, Dagda, Shun's up in this top lane, and he's starting to make things happen with a bit of a lead. Now with the Noon Quiver as well, some damage available to access.
Yeah, and again, we'll have to see if he can try and play through his lanes to get him set up with those marks. Again, it feels like kind of playing through Yuekai here, being able to work with Knight. It's probably what we're going to see from Shun. Zika, though, you always have to be wary. He does have the Hextech Ultimatum, which could buy enough space for Shun to just kind of roam on up there, pick off Wayward. And because you do the slow damage as well, can always make it difficult for Wayward to try and respond to that. But we'll have to see. I think just again, like playing this from top esports where you're working off of Knight to play off in side lanes is the best way to try and shut this down for IG.
Comes back to the story we talked about. Knight always the lifeblood here of top esports, and in this game set up nicely, having a pretty good start as it's a Realm Warp at the ready, it's a Hero's Entrance at the ready as well. A nice little headbutt from Lucas. He's sick of it. Sick of how this lane's going with JackeyLove holding strong by himself. Dagda, I'm going to come back. I want to thank you for one thing. You mentioned the 4th mark is the one that gets the bonus 75 range. And, you know, I said 3. You helped me out. 3 is after the fact. So you and your big brain have already given us a nice little intro into this game. And the reason I'm bringing that up is because for Shun, at this point, the Kindred, down towards bottom side, the Gromp is the mark. Can't get through. There's vision control through the river here for TES. And with how well JackeyLove's lane going, how well Knight's going as well, it's worth mentioning that these marks are going to get so much harder, despite IG getting early blood.
Yeah, and this is why I was kind of worried about how Shun operates. Like, you've already got, like, mid pushed in consistently, bot pushed in consistently. And top lane, you don't really have that control. Well, Wayward.
Peekaboo. Hello, Wayward. Are you going to carry on or not? Shun's level 6, Lamb's Respite available, but beside the point, Wayward headed his head. He's going to be a sad moo for now. As Herald spawns, Tian gets shoved towards mid, and it looks like for top esports, they got control of mid onwards on the map.
Yeah, I don't think top esports want to try and fight for this Herald. They're like,
Okay.
cool, you take that. We're just going to dive bot. Like, we're just going to take bot tower, or we're going to kill Wink while he's under there. And here you go, Wink. Please hop over the wall.
Yeah, he's out. A nice little ship passing in the night, I guess.
Yeah, but look, JackeyLove is going to tear through this alongside Tian. You've got Mark as well who's going to be able to work through this. So you're already just going to trade this. And one turret plate was already gone on this bot side, which means you're going to have a singular plate left on this bot side of the map off of this. Yuekai now trying to see if he can respond onto this bot lane. But again, you're up against the Tristana. She takes this tower so quickly.
Yeah, it really does. I mean, another explosive charge incoming here. This is going to be the third bit of turret plating. More than their Herald's worth. JackeyLove steps up for the final bit of plate. Shared here with Renata, last name Glasc. And that's going to be a mythic pretty early here for JackeyLove too. So worth noting, Dagda, that TES ahead on the gold play. It really is only Zika here dominating his lane, having a grand old time. That's only going to be able to pick up one.
Yeah, and I mean, look, I think a lot of this has just been Wayward playing very safe. He will like be slightly behind in CS, but I still think like the scaling that you have on this Fiora, the ability to kind of play around Zika will give a ton of control to Wayward, especially as you start to crest onto this level 9 mark, and you get full access to your Q period.
Knight's going for a journey though, Dagda. He has flash available, but Lucas is here waiting for the trample. Rooted up as top esports want to bring the cavalry. A handshake, a nice hostile takeover. Again, when we're taking over, we want an AD user to hit him away. Shun wasn't hit. And that ulti meant nothing. As said earlier in the LCS, a bonk on the head.
Tian.
As Tian has been knocked up deep in enemy lines, a heartbreaker. Away he goes with the hero's engine from Yuekai. Shun is dead, and Dagda, Tian up to old antics.
No mark on Tian though, so you can still see only 2 marks on Shun. But still, again, Tian, this series just has not been good from him. Like, there was no reason to try and go for that invade. Like, you'd already saw that Shun had cleared all his camps. What's the point in trying to get that deeper vision? You're totally happy with the vision you have. And now with 10 seconds to a dragon, should be able to actually get this reset, come back with the Kraken Slayer, and now becomes even harder for top esports to try and take away this dragon. Like, at least for the moment, IG, their team fight does look stronger. And top esports, maybe with Wayward having pressure top, can look to contest. But if you ever end up in this 5v5 at this point where you're even, it favors IG.
And Big Daggy, I think it's important to note that Tian has constantly done this in the series, but recently, like, it always comes back to the fact where he had a great last game as Mark, with a handshake, gets himself out. But Tian constantly goes down this route, and for IG, giving them openings when they're a team that can play so aggressive in the early game. Speaking of which, Yuekai with a shield of Durant, the Goliath in the mid lane, having a series as Wink flashes forward. And I was going to say, you give them an inch and they'll take the whole kilometer.
Top esports are playing this so poorly. Like, I don't understand what's going on. Like, Tian has been running it into the jungle all series long. You have Knight, who's had full push and had absolutely no opportunity to roam because of the way that Tian has been setting up this game. And now, every time IG have this big setup, there's nothing being responded from top esports. They, like, why are you face checking them? Like, you have zero vision, River. You can play up on like, try and make a play on towards the large wave that's been pushed to the top. Look for a dive on Zika. And instead, you lose Dragon, nearly lost your mid lane turret, and now Wayward's going to die in topside, if not lose his turret.
This is everything for IG. I mean, Wayward's so low. Tian trying to help out, but 0 and 3. He ain't big. Zika going deep. The Hextech ultimatum underneath the grand challenge. He wants to heal up, but Wayward one hit away. The winds of war, and it's Shun who takes him down. No extra mark. He's still sitting on 2, but IG is sitting on more gold. And Dagda, that is a Kraken Slayer for a Kindred jungle. And IG, the early game is coming to them.
This game's over. Like, IG are just going to be able to power through this. Like, there's no way that Wayward's going to be able to control side lane. Knight has been able to do nothing all game long. Tian is 0-3. And the only person that is going to be big is JackeyLove, but it's really hard for JackeyLove to operate in these fights when you're going to have Zika with Flash, Hextech ultimatum, follow up a Yuekai, and you don't get to play the game as JackeyLove. Like, IG have got the perfect setup now to carry this game forward, and you can see it every time top esports try to look for something that involves a potential fight at a neutral. They've had to back away or they just die.
Imagine you're on a 7-win streak in the LPL, And what comes up against you is an absolute collapsed Invictus Gaming that are probably not making playoffs. Let's be realistic. It relies on the smallest of percentages. You know, it's kind of like the XL situation. It's the Schalke run that needs to come through here, except it relies on many more teams. It's hard to look at how it works, but for IG, at least they've got the spunk, Dagda. At least they've got the prominence to show us here on the Rift. As in game number 3, they're up 1,500 gold. Shun over the wall. This is a bait on top for Wayward. Here against the wall again. A handshake can't do much as Mark's running away. JackeyLove, meanwhile, getting hit by a massive statue. No huge Hugo smash for you as top esports get one, but it ain't over yet. Tian with the lockdown on top of Lucas. Mark running in. And Kindred's going for a little run. Okay, Lamb and Wolf together. It's very cute as Zika going to come in to help out. Look at the damage. Look at the pulverize. But a hostile takeover doesn't help out. No, that ulti not doing too much at the moment. And top esports want to play the yakety sacks with their scraps.
Yeah, starting to get a little bit scrappy from IG. They will still move up towards this top side. Should still be able to get that tier 1. As you can see, the tier 1 in mid is nearly gone. But at least they got... For top esports, they got the pick on towards Yuekai, but just with the ability for Shun to play around these fights, with how big this Kraken Slayer Kindred is right now, you just can't really match up. Like, the damage that comes out of the Kraken Slayer alongside the triple hit on the W from Shun just means you basically one-shot, if not 3/4 out most of top esports.
Hey, Dagda, look at where Tian is. And, oh no, look at the Alistar bug again. Lucas is running on air. He should be. He's been playing so well. I'd be running on air after the series he's played. What a baller.
Yeah, I mean, he's had a really good engages and following up really well with Yuekai. We'll probably continue to see that, to be honest, with just how much IG are going to be able to look for these team fights. Like, a minute and a half until the next dragon. Yes, you have Tian trying to help out with Knight here, but, I mean, there's just pressure everywhere. Even when you look at Shun, who's just picked up that next Rift Herald, you can already see the pings going down in mid. They want to try and use that.
Lucas literally flying once again. The last time we saw something like that, it was Elk as Harry Potter. Huge cosplay. Shun through mid. Herald's going to go down at some point, Dagda. We know that it was picked up a little bit before, and as Herald comes through, we've got a lot of lanes to open it up. And remember that they are inners here. So big opportunities. We look at the replay again. Dagda, you're up because this is the part where Yuekai almost destroyed JackeyLove.
Yeah, thinks he isn't on vision because he's got that pink ward, but it doesn't spot that one right there. And Yuekai nearly able to one-shot the Tristana, but unfortunately just doesn't have enough. No flash to try and get that last auto attack in, so JackeyLove will survive. I like the way IG are setting up here, though. 30 seconds until Dragon. Now you've got a hard choice as top esports. Rift Herald will be placed in mid. Thank you very much for placing that. Shun, now that's going to shove in mid. You either trade Dragon or you lose mid-tier 2 and top-tier 2 with Zika having push. And you can already see it there. IG are like, cool, you go take your Dragon. We're going to take every tower along the way.
I mean, Shun is going to crack this down so quickly as well. Zika does a lot of damage. Mid is just open. I mean, top esports, you're losing the base. And with it opening up the map for more marks with his Kindred, Herald's going to get value. Thanks for the Dragon. And now the base is cracked. Huge 5-hit, I guess, Dagda, because that Herald got so much value.
And now they can just collect that top wave as well. Maybe even look for the tier 2 if they really wanted. But top esports going to let this go down. So 5 head in return for top esports. Like, look, we'll take the extra gold, the extra resources that are going to come from this push in mid. And mid by far the easiest of the lanes to try and defend, because you don't have to like worry about, oh, well, you know, we've got to move away from Baron or move away from an upcoming dragon. It's like, no, you just push it out. And you're still able to always be in range of helping out of both those objectives.
And on the note of opening up inhibitor, I'm sure some people like confused, like, why would they do that? Remember the gold. When they're so far behind, Dagda, when top esports against, you know, they're literally, I wouldn't say they're the humans in Helm's Deep. Let's make a Lord of the Rings reference. They want to funnel them into one point and then ride out to meet Gandalf. So essentially, get all that gold in, build up the Tristana, build up the Ryze, get some gold into this team, and then be able to do something in this game, because IG still with the gold lead. They've opened up the map in pre-18-minute fashion. Again, I said Shun has access to the marks here, and turrets are starting to fall all around. The Orcs, the Urukai are running in, and it's looking pretty dire.
Yeah, I will say I think it was a bit of a mistake from IG to, like, indexed that heavily into mid lane. I would have preferred that they kind of made the mid tier 2 and the mid lane push while Zika continued in top to get the top tier 2 as well. But look, that's minor grievances. IG, you can see here, just going to push in bot. You have 3 members of top esports, and they're all kind of looking here going, well, lads, anyone want to step up to clear that minion line? Because they're going to kill us the second we do.
That's just by himself and one of his own. The only turret left standing that's an inner now on that top side. Knight looking for an outer. It'll be the second one this game. Teleport with a huge note button. And Knight's out of there. Back towards the lane. He takes some minions with him as well. It gives them a little bit of freedom before they know it. So 5k gold lead just about. Excuse me, I can't count. 4.5k at 19 minutes. Dragon number 4 is going to be up in about 245. Dagda, we're getting Baron territory as well. What's Shun's mark? He's got 4 marks off of some pretty big plays. So now, if I can salt the Book of Armaments, Ancient Krug, Blue Sentinel, Greater Merkwolf, or Red Brambleback. So we're starting to get to the big boy buffs that give him more marks now.
This is kind of just like the icing on the cake for Shun. Like, he's done the hard work. Getting to 4 is what actually makes the difference. And you can even see he's going full, one-shot potential here with his build. Kind of realizing how far ahead he is. The Kraken Slayer and that Collector now built. And that's kind of indicating how far ahead of Tian he is. An entire item picked up ahead of his counterpart there. Like, I don't know. It feels like, to me, Tian, honestly, kind of the bad decision-making in the early game has given Shun so much leeway, and Shun now going to be able to ride this wave, what feels like, to an IG victory.
Top esports are the ones that have to check it. Look at this level 12 Kindred. It's around blue buff. I think there's a mark there, and they're like, no. We cannot give that over. Shun walks in. He won't be able to get the steal, and it is just more jungle to take, however, because IG owned this space. Yuekai forcing JackeyLove out, and that's okay. We'll take Wolves, we'll take Gromp, we'll take the rest of it. There's actually a mark up in that top side, and Shun's going to have free access to them all game long. A really good sign here, Dagda, considering that IG, they're 4-9. I didn't expect this coming into today. It's like the day of upsets truly is a thing.
Yeah, and especially when you're looking at top esports, we're on the 7-win streak, taking down the biggest and baddest that the LPL has to offer. And IG are like, yeah, that sounds real nice, but we've got a playoffs that we need to keep in contention for. They start up this bar in top esports, walking over the vision. I don't think the IG do it fast enough before Tian can get here.
Well, I'm not sure. Tian flash, and he's out. He is out. He's shielded, Duranded. If you're wondering why he couldn't ulti there, Yuekai with the quick fingers. Baron goes down. IG just take it in front of their face, and for top esports, a mid lane turret's all they're going to be able to get out of this one.
Yeah, and a perfect reset timing here for IG as well, because Dragon, now in 35 seconds, they're going to be able to move over into the river. Top esports at least should be set up already, but you don't have the vision control really established to keep an eye on where Zika is going to be coming from. If Shun is going to be a threat and Lucas has his flash, I'm ready to see it happen.
Okay, I want to see a hostile takeover more so, Dagda. Tian's going in, he sets up the engage, he's knocked up, and as Tian goes golden, a lot of questions to be used. As Yuekai on the side, takes no damage, hostile takeover does nothing, and now you're in a 5 versus 4, Knight flashing away, Wink ready to go. He's spreading his damage, but it ain't enough, and for top esports, they have given up the rights to this dragon. On top, JackeyLove jumps, but a hero's entrance in front of the Tristana to make sure that's a no. Top esports, again, what can they do here, Dagda? It just goes from bad to worse.
Not go in. That's the answer. Tian cannot go in.
Tian wants to go in,
just
though.
launch himself in. Yuekai, though, trying to see if he can make it happen.
He's okay. Shielded around, not going to hit. There's the bailout. Lucas with the knock-up, though. And ADs are flying through. The Lamb's Spite keeps Lucas alive, and top esports can't get near it. They won't survive as the Realm Warp gets them out, if only just Wayward running for his life, but a hook shot into a potential wall shot. It ain't happening. It doesn't need to happen, Dagda. This Baron power play is going to blow their socks off.
I mean, they've already got the mid inhibitor, but they don't really have the side lanes in pressure. They can now start to get this one in top side. You have the resets coming through for both Wink and Lucas. So, honestly, IG not really in a position to try and get more off of this, but at least here they did get the Dragon and Yuekai. I like the attempt to try and go forward, but again, we said, look, Lucas, he has his flash. That's the person I was keeping my eyes on. And just a wonderful engage from Lucas.
And a beautiful ult from Shun as well. I mean, Lucas surviving at the end, kind of showing how in touch this IG roster is. Luckily with a Realm Warp from Knight to save Wayward. The only reason he really survived after that play. So props to Knight for what it's worth. But this game has been IG for the past 10 minutes. Dragon Soul is available in 3 minutes 45. IG have everything on the map that belongs to them at 60 CS lead. I think Dance of Arrows from Should was a fail, but there's always next up.
Just like, it's like the war goes down. They bait him to stay.
They do. Yuekai over the wall, though. He goes golden. Shun poking from afar. That range advantage doing wonders as a heartbreaker used, but IG have gone way too far forward. Top Esports can actually pull this back. Wayward spot on the outside, but it depends on Zika's ulti coming through. Doesn't have flash available, but he has the angle. And IG now burning the teleport. They want to go in, and Shun is hitting his own angle. In the meantime, Lucas over the wall with a Hex Flash. They ain't stopping. Top Esports for the run. They thought it was good, but here comes the jungler once again. Top Esports, now they're going to go left. We yakety sacks through as Zika's ulti at the ready. The bailout saving Wayward, but not for long. Ultimatum in the back line while Wink cleans up the rest. Invictus Gaming, the blood that they lost with Rookie and the Shy, comes back in so many different ways.
And Wink is going to finish them off. Lucas will take one, Mark will go down, and IG will control the game once more.
Who needs the Shy? Who needs Rookie when you've got Zika and Yuekai apparently? Shun as well, the lifeblood of this team. I've said that word tonight a lot about Knight, but I feel like it's deserved here with IG's jungler. As they press up through the mid lane, note that the death timers are pretty low. It's going to take a bit of a push here as minions start to channel in. The turrets get weak, and Tian has died 5 times. Please don't make it a 6th here. As Invictus Gaming bare Nexus, they're already playoff teams here for Top Esports. They can't do it. No defense necessary. A 2-1 for IG. They stay, if only just, in the LPL 2022 spring split.
Lamb's Respite doesn't save Nexuses, so Lamb's Respite will mean that IG can just take that one down. And for IG, this is far more